What's up YouTube, it's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel, and for today's weekend news video I'm going to be talking about what was it, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9 brand new cards that will be coming out. Actually 10 new cards. 10 new cards that will be coming out of the brand new core set Photon Hypernova, which I am super excited for. I can't wait for the set to come out. Excuse me. I do plan on getting a box of it. I know I said that about Darkwing Blast, but honestly, after talking about all the cards that were in the set, honestly, nothing really seems promising except for the Blackwing support. So I'll probably just end up buying the singles and doing trades and whatnot. But this one, I am definitely going to be getting my hands on, because these next 10 cards I'm going to be talking about are going to be pretty insane. So hopefully you guys are ready, and if you guys are ready for this video and you guys want to see more Yu-Gi-Oh news videos, which get posted every Tuesday and sometimes on weekends, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, follow me on all my social media. Links will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And before we get started, if you guys did not watch last night's video where I revealed the results of NXT Halloween Havoc, I found out, as of yesterday, I now have my own community tab. Obviously, I have not posted anything yet. I don't know exactly how much I'll be posting or anything like that. I honestly don't. Yeah, I have no idea how to do it. So I'm sure I'll figure it out at some point. But I think what I'll do is I'll have a post at some point, sometime this week or something like that, where I'll ask you guys to comment on that post, if you're able to anyway. What decks do you guys want to see me profile or whatever? Just because I feel like I've been updating you know the same decks over and over and over again. So I figured, why not switch it up? Obviously, you guys know I will be continuing to update the decks that I have listed on Nexus as time progresses with the ban list and all that. Which, by the way, I do have an updated Egyptian God deck. So if you guys are ready, make sure you guys stay tuned for that. I don't know when I'll be doing that deck profile, honestly, but guys, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on with the channel. But let's kick off this video with with a couple of random cards. I believe this one is part of the Fairy Ring archetype. There was something about this one that caught my eye. But first up, we have Enkian Summoner Fairy, which is a 3-star wind insect tuner with 800 attack, 1500 defense, and you can only special summon this card with the first effect once per turn, which reads, if there is an insect and or plant monster in the grave, you can special summon this card from your hand. So again, we all know, anytime there's a monster that has a Cyber Dragon effect, you know the monster is going to be busted, which is pretty cool. And the second effect is no different, because it says, if this card you control is used as synchro material for an insect or plant, you can treat it as a non-tuner. So what's interesting about this is that if you were to summon, let's say, I'll say Splendid Rose, which is a plant, you can use it as a non-tuner, which honestly, shocker, it's a non-tuner if you guys didn't know. Ooh, shocker. No, I'm kidding. But Yeah, I mean that's pretty good. Especially if you ended up summoning a tuner synchro that is an insect or a plant, then that synchro becomes a non-tuner, so you can just use two tuners essentially to synchro summon, which is pretty cool. There's a note underneath that says Enkian means a torus, or basically a donut-shaped object, typically, but the second kanji, circle, I guess, I don't know, has been replaced by some kanji, which is cry or summon, the latter half of shokan, i.e. summon. It's obviously riffing on a fairy ring, so let's go with Hexenringe, a German term for them. This monster also has an extended letter cutoff, so I'll go with the spelling of fairy to differ between the two. Alright? That's YG organization for you guys. Shoutouts to them. No copyrights as always. But we do have the synchro for them, which is Circle of Fairy, which is a 7-star wind plant synchro with 2200 attack, 2500 defense, and requires a tuner and one or more non-tuners. And the second effect is a once per turn. The first effect reads, during your main phase, you can normal summon an insect or plant monster in addition to your normal summoner set. And you can only gain this effect once per turn. So it's basically another version of Blackwing Nathan the Starlight, where you're able to just normal summon again. So it's essentially a quote unquote double summon, if you will, which you know it's gonna be nuts. By the way, shout out to Starbucks for the cold brew. They actually got my order right this time. Not sponsored, just love their cold brew. Anyway, so it's essentially a double summon, which if you have a monster in your main deck or in your extract for that matter that has a double summon effect, you know that they're telling you, hey, go ahead and extend your plays a little bit, just a little bit further. But you guys know there's always a downside to these types of effects, and one of them is imperm. That is probably one of the biggest downsides to it out there. And plus, not only that, you could potentially also potentially neg off of that effect. But it mainly just depends on what your opponent has on board. So depending on what they have on board, you could either plus off of it or you can neg off of it, which it's a double-edged sword basically with that first effect. The second effect, on the other hand, is a little bit different because it reads, when a monster or monsters is destroyed by battle involving your insect or plant monster and sent to the grave, you can target one of them, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the attack it had on the field. Then you gain life points equal to the damage inflicted. So that's actually not too bad. The only problem is that I believe there's a card that prevents it. Let's see. What? No. I had the password right, you sack of shit. Thank you. I'll go to a random deck. My Blue Eyes. Go to my Blue Eyes deck. Let's see. No, that's not it. Ghost Sister, maybe? Nope. Let's see, there's Ghost Mortar, Ghost Sister, Belle, Ogre, Reaper, and Ash. So I believe those are the 6, so I think it's either Sister or, it's one, I don't remember. There was a hand trap. There was a hand trap that basically prevented you from gaining life points. I don't remember what it was though, but but basically, basically this card just ensures that you gain life points and you're able to just extend your plays even further. The only downside is that I think with this one, I think what was it, Ghost Ogre might be the biggest downfall for it. So if Ghost Ogre is if the effect of Ghost Ogre lands, that's it. It's essentially GG. And I think this is mainly I think you only need one in the deck. So you might want to have Pot of Avarice in your deck just in case. But we do got to move on. Next up we have Triple Tactic. Triple Tactic Tasking, which is a normal spell, obviously, and it reads that the effect is a once per turn, which reads, if your opponent has activated a monster effect this turn, set one normal spell or trap directly from your deck, except this card. It cannot be activated this turn. Or if your opponent controls a monster, you can add that card to your hand instead. That's actually not too bad. It's a little bit different from Triple Tactic's Talent, I believe it is. Because with Talent, it's a Pot of Greed, Confiscation, Snatch, Steal, all rolled into one. Whereas opposed to this one, it's sort of like a much more it's like a really bad version of Red Reboot, but instead of adding it, but the big difference is that with this one, you can either add it to your hand if your opponent has a monster on board, or you just set it directly from your deck, which isn't too bad. But obviously, we know Ash Blossom is gonna come into effect. We all know Ash Blossom is always there. It's always there, people. And yet, for some reason, Called by the Grave is still at 1. I guess Konami likes hand traps more than they like hand traps being negated. Who knows? Who knows? But there's a note underneath that reads, the card is not, in fact, just Triple Tactic, which in parentheses they have it as the Sensen part of the Japanese card name. The Go can mean, among other things, shout or command when part of larger words, with tasking being the closest alliteration that loosely fits the card's image of ordering. Okay, I mean, that's something. That's something. Okay. Well, I mean, it's a nice little history lesson, I guess. Next up, we have a brand new ninja card. I don't know why the hell ninjas are coming back. I've got no fucking clue. But I guess Konami wants ninjas to be meta, but let's be real. Let's be real here, people. They won't be. They will not be meta. I can guarantee you that it will not be meta. Even if they were, it would only be a rogue deck at best. But next up, we have Geo, the Weighted Ninja, which is an 8-star Earth Rock with 2,300 attack, 2,900 defense, and both of its effects are once per turn. And the first effect reads, if this card is normal summon, special summon, or flip face up, you can target up to 2 face-up monsters in the field, change them to face-down defense. Opponent's monsters changed to face-down defense. By this effect, cannot change their battle position. So it's essentially a book of moon. It's essentially a it's essentially a book of Lunar Eclipse, which is absolutely insane. But the only upside is that you don't have to discard cards to use it. It's a free book of Lunar Eclipse where you just flip cards face down, and your opponent can't do jack shit about it. It's just that simple. That's actually pretty cool. The second effect reads, if another monster or monsters is on the field, flip face up while this monster is on the field, you can target one card your opponent controls and destroy it. And there's a note underneath that reads, this is either stack or weights. He's got a stack of induction coils, but he's also wearing weighted armor. So, and yes, the Geo sounds like Geo. Okay, that's pretty cool. What? Hold up, we got more cards. So 10, 11, 12 new cards. Sorry guys, I apologize, it's 12 new cards. I'll probably have to retitle the video. But next up we have Yagura Maru, the Armored Ninja, which is a 5-star Dark Machine Fusion. What, a machine? What the hell? A machine? Who the fuck would turn on? Oh my god. I don't know, guys. I don't know what the hell's going on. Why it's a machine? I've got no fucking clue. But it's a 5-star Dark Machine Fusion. 2,000 attack and defense. And requires 2 ninjas with different types. Must first be either Fusion Summon or Special Summon by attributing the above cards to control. And the effect reads, if this card is Special Summon or flip face up, you can banish one of the ninja or ninjutsu art card from your hand or grave. From your hand, grave, or face-up field, then target a card on the field and banish it. So it's essentially like a bottomless trap hole / cosmic cyclone, which is absolutely really good. There's no other way to describe it. It's just that busted. Not much else to say about it. I think the only downside is that if your opponent were to target, let's say your opponent's IP Masquerena, they can just all they gotta do is just easily chain IP's effect and just send it to the graveyard instead and link summon. So it's essentially a neg 1 effect basically, which is kind of a kind of like your downfall, if you will. But next up we've got the field spell for them. It is Tenchi Gamey, I believe is how it's pronounced in the OCG. In the TCG, they're pronouncing it as a world shrouded in darkness, which is the field spell for them, and it has 2 separate effects. And this one it says that this card is always treated as a ninjutsu art card. The first effect reads: when your ninja monster inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target a card they control and destroy it. It's a board wipe. It's essentially a board wipe, which is just absolutely nuts. Second effect reads: if this face-up card in its owner's field zone leaves the field by an opponent's card effect and sent to your graveyard or banished, you can target any number of ninja monsters with different names in your grave, special summon them face down defense. So what's really cool about this is that this basically lets you, gives you more, access to even more of your link plays, and you can basically just end with like fucking was it fucking Access Code Talker and just a couple others. That's your board right there, and it's essentially GG. Not much else to say about it. The only downside is that I think Ghost Bell will probably have to be the biggest downfall of the whole of this whole thing, in my honest opinion. But next up, we have a brand new C. Oh, you guys are wondering what the fuck are you talking about? Oh, right. Yeah. So we have Flying C, Contact C, Max C. Now we have Hiding C, which is a 7-star Earth Insect. 1,300 attack, 2,500 defense, and it has 2 separate effects. And the first one is a once per turn, which reads: when your opponent special summons a monster or monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand and face down defense. And if you do, change it to face up defense during the end phase of the turn. Which brings us to the second effect, which reads: if this card is flipped face up during the end phase, destroy all special summon monsters on the field. So so this card can actually work with the Fluendaries, because all you do is just normal summon, unless if you go heavy into your extra deck, then yeah, it might be a bit of a problem for you. But as long as you have a lot of the Fluendaries cards on board, and let's say I think Access Code Talker. Access Code Talker I don't think can be destroyed, can it? Hold on, I gotta check the effect, Because if I remember correctly, because I know that I always talked about Access Code Talker countless times on the channel. Let's see here. Your opponent cannot. Never mind. It's your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this card's effect activation. If this card's Link Summon, you can target a card. You can target a Link monster that was used as material for its Link Summon. This card gains attack equal to that monster's Link rating times 1,000. You can manage the Link monster from your field or grave, destroy a card your opponent controls, and for the rest of the turn, you cannot banish monsters with that same attribute to activate this effect. Okay, yeah, I thought so. Okay, never mind. So I thought. Okay, so as long as you had like have a Link monster that basically has a destruction protection effect. It's essentially it's sort of like a dark hole of sorts, which is just pretty nuts. Not much else to say about it, but we do gotta now shift gears. Weevil Underwood, of all people in the fucking DM anime, has new insect support. Why? I've got no clue. He sucks. He sucks. I'm saying it right now. Weevil Underwood sucks. He's a freak, and he's an ass. If you guys watched the DM anime, you guys know how big of an asshole that dude was in the anime. And apparently, well, we have new support for him, and the first one is Bio Insect Armor, which is a 5-star Earth Insect with 1,500 attack and 2,000 defense. And the first effect is a once per turn, which reads, if this card is in your hand or grave and you do not control this card, you can target one insect monster you control, equip this card to it, but banish this card and that equipped monster when they leave the field. So, how do you bypass the banish effect? Use the equipped monster as Xyz material. Plain and simple. It's that simple. Use the monster as Xyz material, and you're pretty much just off to the races there. Second effect reads, the monster equipped with this card gains 1,500 attack and 2,000 defense during the battle phase and main phase 2 only. Holy shit. Okay, that's pretty nuts. I have to admit that's pretty busted because it basically just helps go over your opponent's monsters depending on what they have on board, which is not too bad. The only downside though is that because of the fact that we have so much back row removal, such as cards like Cosmic Cyclone, Harpy's Feather Duster, MST, Heavy Storm Duster, just to name some of them. It might be a bit of a problem, but there's also imperm as well that can also just derail your play, just like that. So that, yeah, no. Who am I kidding? Who am I kidding? Yeah, I mean, sure, it can go over your opponent's board, but they suck. The cards suck anyway, and so does Weevil Underwood. We all know how bad he was at the game in the anime. Not much else to say about that. But next up we have Giant Antlion? Yeah, Giant Antlion, which is a 3-star Earth Insect, 1,200 attack, 1,500 defense, and the first and second effects are once per turn. And the first effect reads, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand. So it's essentially a Cyber Dragon, and you know that the effect is good. The second effect reads, if this card is normal or special summon, you can equip it with one insect monster from your hand or grave as an equipped spell that gives it 500 attack and defense. So I would say Antlion equipped by Bio Insect Armor, that's an additional 2,000 attack? I mean, that's not too shabby. So it would basically go up to 3,200, which is pretty. Or actually, no. Is it 32? No. 15 to... Yeah, okay, yeah, I thought so. 3,200 attack, and it would be 15... Let's see, 15... 20, 25, 30... 35... 4,000 defense. It would be up to 4,000 defense, guys. That's pretty nuts. That's pretty insane. Not much else to say about that. The third effect reads once per turn at the start of the damage step. If an insect monster battles, you can target a card you control and a card your opponent controls and destroy them. So it's essentially a 1-for-1 right off the bat, which is just absolutely nuts. I don't have anything to say about it, but again, we all know the downside is that your opponent will potentially have an out to it, which we know that there is a whole variety of outs that your opponent can have to, no pun intended, out these types of effects, which is just absolutely nuts. Which we all know. Again, I said it before, I'll say it again. Weevil Underwood sucks. His cards suck. Anybody who thinks that Weevil Underwood was a great duelist in the anime, y'all need to get your eyes checked. Just saying. But next up we have Perfect Great Insect, which is a 9-star Earth Insect fusion with 3,000 attack, 2,600 defense, and requires a level 8 insect and a level 7 insect, which, I mean, I guess it would be Grey Moth and perfectly ultimate Grey Moth, I would say. Must first be either Fusion Summon or Special Summon from your extract by attributing one insect monster with 2,000 or more defense equipped with an equipped card. You can only Special Summon Perfect Great Insect or Insects once per turn. First effect reads, cannot be destroyed by battle. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. Second effect reads, once per battle, once per the battle phase, if there is a face-up card in the field zone, as a quick effect, you destroy all monsters your opponent controls. It's a fucking Regeki. Which is pretty good, but if your opponent doesn't have an out to it, you essentially just have game on board, which is just pretty nuts. Not much else to say there. Next up we have Giant Ball Shoot, which I believe this is the last of the Weevil Underwood cards, and both of its effects are a hard once per turn. And the first effect reads, when this card is activated, you can target one level 6 or lower insect in your grave. Excuse me. And special summon it. So it's essentially a Monster Reborn. Plain and simple. The biggest downfall? Ghost Ogre. Sorry, Ghost Bell. Sorry, not Ogre. Ogre focuses on what's already on the field. Ash focuses on the deck. Bell focuses on the graveyard. So yeah, Ghost Bell, gonna be a bit of a problem. The second effect reads, you can reveal one insect monster in your hand, then target a face-up monster your opponent controls, and one insect monster you control with lower attack than the revealed monster. Switch control of both, and if you do, the monster you took control of becomes an insect monster. So it's essentially a creature swap DNA surgery where you're able to just again swap your monster with your opponent's monster, and the opponent's monster that you took becomes an insect, which is where the the whole DNA surgery effect comes into play, which is not too shabby. I mean, we all know that creature swap was a pretty busted card during Go format, so it's not that bad. There's a note underneath that says the proxy on the left has its first effect written differently from the text box at the bottom of the picture. The text we have translated is the one in the bottom box. This is also the text that was in the script read by the hosts in the stream. The one in the picture reads, during the main phase of the turn which this card was activated, you can special summon a level 6 or lower insect from your graveyard in your graveyard. In other words, you can still get your insect monster, but instead of selecting your target when this card is first activated and summoning it at resolution, you can activate it at other points of your main phase during the turn in which this card was activated, and it does not target. So that's actually not too bad, but the problem is that because of the fact that cards like, because that call by is limited to 1, you're gonna be having cards such as DD Crow and potentially Darklaw to ensure that you don't get the Monster Reborn effect, which is just it is what it is, guys. It is what it is. Next, and now for the final card that I will be talking about in this video, and there are more cards to talk about in the coming weeks, so make sure you guys get ready for that. This one is called Tree Crown Armorperior B-Gram. Yep, another card that will probably have its name changed in the TCG. 9-star Earth Insect with 3,400 attack and 2,800 defense. And it says that it cannot be normal summon or set, must be special summoned from your hand or grave by banishing 3 insect and or plant monster from your hand and or graveyard. You can only special summon this card once per turn. And it has 2 separate effects, and the first effect reads, your opponent cannot activate monster effects in response to the activation of your spell or trap cards and effects. Okay, so even if you activated a card like, say, Call By, your opponent can't do anything about it. If you activate a card that gives you a search, Ash Blossom cannot be activated. If you activate a card that was already on board, Ghost Ogre can't be activated. If you summon a monster, Solemn Judgment, Solemn Warning, Solemn Strike would not be able to be activated, which is just absolutely nuts. Unless if you used was it Imperm? Yeah. Unless if you use Imperm on your opponent, in which case they won't be able to do anything at all with the card. So all they gotta do is just use the monster as link material and just link it off into a fucking Axico target or something like that, which it's gonna happen. It's going to happen. But next up, and now for its second effect, which is the last card of the last card that I'll be talking about. The second effect reads, once per turn you can destroy all face-up monsters on the field except insect and plant monsters. Also, this card cannot attack directly this turn. So because of the fact that you're going to be having a bunch of plants and a bunch of insects on board, it's essentially a Regeki, which, I mean, just blowing up your opponent's board is just good on its own. So not much else to say about that, but that brings me to the question of the day. That brings me to the question of the day, which is this: which Yu-Gi-Oh character, which Yu-Gi-Oh anime character do you think should have gotten new support in Photon Hypernova? Let me know down in the comments below, and that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more Yu-Gi-Oh news videos, which get posted every Tuesday and sometimes on weekends, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, follow me on all my social media. Links will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.